Chapter 10. Tomato soup what? My friends still weren't talking to me the next day, or the day after that. I was extra sad when I got home from school, so Mom drove me to visit Great-Grandma. Seeing that woman's old face always cheered me up. The first thing Great-Grandma said to me when I got there was, "Let's bake something together, Aven." "Okay, Great-Grandma," I said. "Banana bread?" Great-Grandma shook her head. "Carrot cake?" Great-Grandma shook her head again. "What then, Great-Grandma?" I narrowed my eyes at her. "Not turnip cake." Great-Grandma laughed. "No, Aven, we're going to make tomato soup cake." I blinked at her because this had to be a big, fat joke. "Are you pranking me, Grandma?" I asked. "Nope," said Great-Grandma. "I'm very serious. Let's get started." I helped Great-Grandma put all the usual ingredients for cake into the mixing bowl. Flour, sugar, oil, baking soda, baking powder, which I did not forget this time, and eggs. Then Great-Grandma pulled out a can of tomato soup. "You know, Grandma, I think you might want to rethink that tomato soup," I said. "It's not too late to change your mind." "I'm not changing my mind, honey," she said. Then I watched as she dumped the soup into the cake. It was a horrendous sight, people. Horrendous. Then Great-Grandma popped the cake into the oven. "There," she said. "We'll have a delicious tomato soup cake in no time." Great-Grandma and I sat down on the couch together. She put her arm around me. Smitty, her dog, jumped up on the couch with us, and he put his head on my lap. "You tell your grandma what's the matter," Great-Grandma said, patting Smitty's head. "Grandma," I said, "everyone is mad at me, and they don't want me to do the baking contest with them." "Why are they mad at you?" asked Great-Grandma. I shrugged. "Just because I didn't want to do the raisin clafouti, because raisins are disgusting. And also, I guess I made Sujita feel bad when I laughed at the name of her dessert, milk barfy. And also, this boy Ren at school told me his mom makes steamed cake with beans in it. And I made a face like this." I showed Great-Grandma my yuck face. "I mean, who ever heard of steamed cake with beans in it? That sounds gross." Great-Grandma nodded as she listened to me. When I was finally done explaining the whole situation, she asked me, "Have you ever tried steamed cake with beans in it?" "Of course not," I said. "So how do you know it's gross if you've never tried it?" she asked. "Because beans don't go in dessert," I said. "Who ever heard of sweet beans?" "You eat my baked beans, and there's lots of sugar in those," she said. "But that's different," I said. "How is that different?" she asked. "You don't put them in a cake," I said. "No, Aven," Great-Grandma said sternly. "You don't put them in cake. But lots of people around the world use beans in desserts. Lots of people eat all kinds of different things, even insects." "I know insects eat all kinds of things, Grandma. They eat Mom's tomato plants all day long." "No, honey," said Great-Grandma. "What I meant is that some people even eat insects." "Gross," I said. Great-Grandma shook her head. "No, not gross, just different. If you grow up eating bugs, you wouldn't think it's gross at all. And I bet you eat all kinds of things that some people would think are gross." "Like what?" I asked. "Like," Great-Grandma thought for a long moment. "How about hot dogs?" "But hot dogs are delicious," I said. Some people would think they're gross," she said. "They're made of something that looks like pink slime." "Ew," I said. "But they taste so good." "And you only know they taste so good because you've tried them, right?" I shrugged. I guess so. "We miss out on all kinds of interesting experiences when we're too scared to try new things," she said. "Are you saying I should try the steamed cake with beans?" I asked. But Wren and I really aren't that good of friends. I don't even know if he'd want to give me cake. Great Grandma sighed. I'm saying we're all different and have something different to offer this world, Aven, she said. Even when it comes to cooking and baking, what are you saying when you refuse to try your friend's foods or when you make that face? She copied my yuck face. Are you saying you're too scared of something that's different? Are you saying it's unacceptable just because it's something you're not used to? What if someone didn't want to eat your food because you made it with your feet? How would that make you feel? Crummy, I said. So, said Great Grandma, how do you think your friends feel when you won't try something just because it's different from anything you've had before? They probably feel pretty crummy, I said. Great Grandma nodded. I bet you're right. The Aven I know wouldn't want anyone to feel crummy, would she? I shook my head. No. Then the timer went off. Ah, said Great Grandma, standing up and causing Smitty to jump off the couch. Let's see if the tomato soup cake is done. Great Grandma pulled the cake out of the oven, and I had to admit, it did smell pretty good. She stuck a toothpick in it and it came out clean. Then we whipped up some cream cheese frosting together. I just don't see how this frosting could taste good on tomato soup, I said. True, you may not like it, Great Grandma said, cutting me a square piece of frosted cake and placing it in front of me, but you won't know until you try it. I took a deep breath. Picking up my fork in with my toes, I looked down at Smitty sitting next to my chair. Wish me luck, I told him, but he just drooled. Then I stuck a tiny bit in my mouth. I chewed and chewed, and my eyes got big because guess what? Tomato soup cake is delicious. It's wonderful, Grandma, I declared. Great Grandma nodded. See how important it is to have an open mind when it comes to trying new things? I totally get it, Grandma. Can I have a pickle now? A pickle, she asked. Always have a pickle with my tomato soup and grilled cheese, but since the cake has cheese frosting, I guess that will do. Well, honey, I really don't think a pickle would go well with tomato soup cake, she said. Have you tried it, Grandma? She smiled. No, I haven't. Then she got us out 2 pickles from the fridge. And guess what? Great Grandma's instincts were totally right. Pickles do not go well with tomato soup cake. But I could only say that because I tried it.
This story has been out of this world. Thank you so much for joining me as we finish up this week reading our book, Aven Green Baking Machine. Don't forget to be safe, respectful, and responsible. And go